Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review The Innocents. And this is from writer-director Eskil Vogt. And during the bright Nordic summer, a group of children reveal their dark and mysterious powers when the adults aren't looking. And this fantasy, horror, mystery, thriller brings together these young kids and their powers and how they must channel them, use them against each other, and try to make it out alive and in one piece throughout their childhood in this particular summer. In this film, I have to say, the acting from these young people is off the chart. They do such a fantastic job, each of them in their roles, and I wanted to give a lot of credit to them because they have a lot to balance here, a lot to show, and they give very mature performances for being such young actors. And the direction of this film has a lot of personality. It has a lot of tension and suspense in the air. The visualizations, how there's these visions that happen, there's these hallucinations that happen. These are done in such an impactful way, and Vogt does a great job in directing and making those aspects of the story happen and these characters. And it has a very distinct, gritty, and Nordic kind of look to it. If you've seen any Northern European thrillers, they all have that kind of look to it. This generally has that, but it feels a little richer and a little bolder in terms of its colors and its lighting and that kind of stuff, where it's just not a whole bunch of grays. And the story, though, there are moments where this really pushes you over the edge. There's some horrible things that these kids do that show their distinct lack of compassion and empathy. And one particular thing that they do to a cat, oh my god, I almost had to stop watching the movie because it was too brutal, it was too horrible, and I wanted to strangle this little kid. I want to go full-blown like Homer Simpson on Bart Simpson in that moment. And they go to other dark lengths. Generally, the film does a good job of not over-tipping and showing too much, despite that scene I felt like went way too far. And in this film, there is these powers that are fully realized and bring danger and suspense to the story, so they're really effective in that way. And it deals with a lot of themes of innocence and truth and the potential of the destruction of children's innocence. And these kids have these powers and wind up being thrusted into positions that they probably shouldn't be. And they come at odds with each other. Some of them break bad and have to be taken out. Some of them are protagonists that we're trying to chase throughout this film and really try to make sure that we're there with them and throughout this journey. And in general, these kids give great performances. There's a lot of suspense. I do feel like the third act becomes a little bit too methodical, because that's the pacing. It is very methodical. But I feel like in the final 20 minutes or so, it gets a bit repetitive. It gets a bit extra slow and meandering, and I just feel like it doesn't stick the landing as well as it could have with everything else that was swirling in this film. And in general, though, this is a really strong and impactful film. It's an interesting twist on, finding these powers and being able to have them and what they'll do. And when it really comes down to it, this is a poignant and moving film that is definitely worth your time, definitely worth the effort. Sitting there with all these subtitles, it's worth it. This is quite the experience when it comes to filmmaking. But those are my thoughts on The Innocents. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.